Good afternoon and welcome to the fifth of six webcasts we're doing today on the new Cub Scout program coming to you in June of this year. In addition to covering the general nature of the changes associated with the Cub Scout program, this will focus on information of particular interest to den leaders. My name is Bob Scott. I'm the Cub Scout Experience Manager here at the National Office of the Boy Scouts of America. Before we get into the details of the presentation, let's cover a few technical items. Based on how quickly the chat function is working, I think most of you have discovered it. If you haven't, it's in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. We welcome your questions and comments. It's moving quite quickly, and we will do our best, our Cub Scout best, to pick questions out and make sure that we answer them as we go forward in the presentation. If not, we're going to review all of that information after we're done, and we will repost our frequently asked questions document, which is on scouting.org/program updates. If in the event of any technical difficulties, and we have had a few scattered reports of problems with audio, mostly video today, couple of suggestions. One is reduce your resolution. You have choices of how much data gets pushed from live stream to your house. So make a good choice there. And also look at it in a smaller window as opposed to a larger window. If in the event of a sort of an all-out loss of signal, hang around for a couple of minutes and don't do anything. We'll be trying to correct the situation on our end. If we are unable to do so after 2 minutes, back out of your current browser window and re-come in through LiveStream. So for the last 4 years, I've been blessed to be working with hundreds of volunteers around the country as we've looked at the Cub Scout program. We've focused in areas that we think are critical to the success for our boys. First, looking at our current program, understanding what's awesome in it, and how we can make that continue and get better and better every day. Second was understanding what are the changes we need to make the program more dynamic and relevant for today's youth and families. We also wanted to make sure we were delivering a program that's easier and more simple for our leaders to implement. And finally, we wanted to make sure that we were sticking to our mission, which is to deliver the mission and aims of the Boy Scouts. So without further ado, I want to introduce the folks that are going to be helping me here today. We've got 3 fantastic volunteers. First, you'll hear from Nancy Farrell. Nancy's from the Denver Area Council. She was the chair that led the Cub Adventure team that did the curriculum development and the writing associated with the new boys handbooks and the new leader materials that will be coming your way. We have Ken King from the Three Fires Council in Illinois. Ken was Nancy's co-chair and one of the most prolific authors of the adventures and support materials. And we have Linda Vaughn, another one of our adventure authors and members of the CAT team. Linda is from the Great Salt Lake Council. So without further ado, let's just jump in. Nancy, what can you tell us about how this process started and what the goals and objectives were?
Well, first and foremost, we've been getting the question is why change? Why are we changing the Cub Scout program? I asked that question myself when I was brought into this project. The Boy Scouts of America continually seeks to provide the best programs available for the youth and families of America. And in doing so, change is necessary. The changes that we'll discuss with you today originated when the National Council presented their strategic plan in 2010. Over 75 registered volunteers and professionals supporting them who work for the Boy Scouts of America formed a task force to look at that program element of the strategic plan. Their task was to determine if all of our programs across all of Scouting were dynamic and relevant for today's boy. In reviewing Cub Scouting, while they found our current program of value, there were some areas that were just not quite aligning to our aims. They reached out to child development, educational, and subject matter experts to get a better understanding of today's boy. Our last significant advancement change in Cub Scouting happened in the 1960s. And I think we'd all agree that the boy of the 1960s is much different than the boy of today. With the help of our research and development team here at the National Office, through Voice of the Scout, online surveys, and focus groups, we retained feedback from Cub Scouts, their families, and leaders in the current program. What a wealth of information that provided for us. Your likes, your dislikes, the need to remove passive requirements, and a desire to be a more active and engaging program. Our Den leaders also shared with us that they wanted more to the Den meeting plan. They wanted an all-encompassing guide with the resources right at their fingertips and not have to go elsewhere for their Den meeting plan. So now, with the analysis and the feedback done, a team of dedicated Cub Scouters formed, the CAT team, as Bob mentioned, to write the curriculum for the youth handbooks and the Den leader guides to support those. We knew we were right on track when the pilot testing in 2013 proved that the boys absolutely loved the adventures and the Den leaders found ease in executing of the plans. The changes hope to ensure that Cub Scouting will position itself to grow and to serve not only for today, but for future generations of families and boys. Ken, help us understand a little bit about the program model of the new program.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nancy. Well, what's important to understand is that as we were developing the materials based on what the initial research told us, is that we ended up with 4 objectives for the design that we were putting together. One of them was a desire to make sure that the program became less complex. If you've been involved in Cub Scouting, you know that changes take place along the way that makes it different from level to level. You know also that the program has had some creep in terms of the requirements. So there's a number of things that it was clear that the program had become more complex than was necessary to deliver the experience for boys. We also know that in Cub Scouting that some of the requirements also had changed over time, and we're focused more on discussion and showing, and not as much doing and action. So it was important to us to make sure that the program to really connect with boys became as fun and active as possible. For delivery meetings, we know that the Den-based advancement model works really well. It ensures that retention is higher. It ensures that advancement is more consistent with boys. And we know that boys and families like that because of the level of engagement and connection to the aims of scouting that takes place through this process. So in addition to the Den-based advancement approach, the reduction in complexity, and making sure that the program was fun and adventurous, we had 5 big points that served to help us design the program and make sure that the content of the activities through rank advancement were consistent and delivered to a common outcome. 3 of them, character development, participatory citizenship, and personal fitness, you probably already know about those from your Cub Scout leader training. Those are the aims of Scouting, and they've been with us for decades and decades in Scouting. And we always want to make sure that the Scout experience that Cub Scouts have connects with those 3 big ideas. 2 other pieces became very important to us in the program development process. One is the recognition that Scouting, better than any youth development program, produces great leaders. And so one of the desired outcomes was to make sure that Cub Scouting, as we redeveloped the materials, made sure that boys became excellent leaders through the process. Finally, why boys want to become involved in Scouting is often based on what they know that Scouts do, the outdoor program and the fun and adventure associated with that. So making sure that the program materials in Scouting focus on outdoor skills and awareness, leadership and life skills, character development, citizenship, and personal fitness. That's the stuff that Scouting is all about, and that's what was reflected in the advancement materials that we developed through the ranks. So for some more details on how that works in practice, Nancy, what can you tell us about the advancement system?
Well, I can tell you it's been simplified. The structure of the advancement has been simplified. No longer does a leader need to learn the different structure for the different age groups that we serve.
Remember the number 7. Each rank has to complete 7 adventures to earn the rank badge. The name Adventure was deliberately chosen. It's defined as an engaging and an exciting experience, and you can bet that the adventures were written just for that. Our adventures now become our path to advancement, and the recognition for those will be the adventure belt loops and adventure pens. As mentioned, 7 adventures the boy earns the rank. 6 of those are defined, including a Duty to God adventure that is primarily family-based, and the boy has a choice of an elective to complete to get his rank badge. Those themes are interdisciplinary. Ken mentioned those 5 desired outcome areas, and they've been interwoven into the adventures. Let me give you an example of that. In the Webelos Walkabout adventure, the adventure is primarily about hiking. While we're out hiking and enjoying our physical fitness, we have the opportunity for the boys to perform leadership roles. We will also execute a community service project, thus bringing in our citizenship. And as we reinforce the Leave No Trace principles and outdoor code, we're building our outdoor skills and awareness. Now, adventure takes approximately 3 den meetings to complete, one of those designed to be an outing. And we would encourage you to immediately recognize the boys upon completion of an adventure. Next, you will see the breakdown by rank of the 7 adventures. The key here is that as a boy ages, he's provided more choices. This helps set the stage for the freedom that's offered in Boy Scouting with the variety of merit badges he can choose from. As we mentioned, we have a pretty complex recognition system at the moment. One for tigers, a different one for wolf and bear, and then another one for the Webelos and Arrow of Light. That has been simplified to the adventure belt loops for tiger, wolf, and bear, and the adventure pens for Webelos and Arrow of Light. Let's take a closer look at those now. Notice our new tiger badge. With the removal of the word cub from the tiger program, our tiger needed to mature a little bit and has so in the new rank badge. You'll also notice that the required ranks for adventure are in full color, and the electives are monochromatic. Retaining the Webelos pens, the design of the Webelos pen became a diamond and arrowhead for Arrow of Light. They share common electives in the shape of an oval. And I have some great news to share with you all today. Thank you to our National Supply for providing our retail price for those devices. The belt loops will be $1.39, a reduction in cost from our current belt loops. And the adventure pens will remain the same price as the pens today at $1.89. I know we've all been waiting for that price, so thank you again, National Supply. Now, Linda, help us understand a little bit about how the youth will transition to this new program.
Well, Nancy, we are all excited about starting this new program on June 1st. And as den leaders, it's our opportunity to seamlessly transition into the new program. The way to do that is to continue with a quality program right now using the current program materials. All of the boys in your dens should earn the rank badge that they are currently working on. After they've done that, as you have time, continue earning, providing activities that will help them earn arrow points, as well as the academic and sports belt loops. Complete your program on May 31st, and on June 1st, begin your new adventure program with your Cub Scouts. Oftentimes, you don't begin the new program until September. Not this year. This would be a great time for you to begin adventures on June 1st with those new boys. The boys that are working on their Arrow of Light rank, those that are entering the 5th grade in the fall, have an opportunity to select which way they want to earn their Arrow of Light rank. They can use the current handbook and finish the program as they have currently been working on. Or they may begin the new adventure and work on the adventure ranks for the Arrow of Light rank. There's a few options for the elective adventures. They may go back to the current program that we're working on now and select some of the activity pins that they have wanted to do. They may go back and complete some of the adventure required adventures for the Webelos rank that sound interesting to them. Regardless of which way they do it, the main goal is to help the boys be enthusiastic about the program and be excited about the new Cub Scouting program that will be available to them. We anticipate that you might just have a number of 5th grade boys wanting to join with the Cub Scouting program, and with the boys that are working on their Arrow of Light rank coming in this fall. If you have that happen, this is what we encourage you to do. First off, the boys earn their Bobcat rank. It is still the first rank that is required when boys enter the Cub Scouting program. The Webelos rank will no longer be required for them to earn before they can earn the Arrow of Light. This is for boys that are entering the program in the 5th grade. He enjoys the activities that they're working on and hopefully will earn his Arrow of Light with the rest of his peers and move on into a Boy Scout troop as they transition on. That's the important part there. Ken, what can you tell us about the helps and the guides that our den leaders have available to them?
Well, great. Thank you very much for that question.
You're welcome.
I think what we all understand is we've got a good insight into the way the advancement system works now. The next step is, what do den leaders need to do to be able to support the delivery of the program den meeting by den meeting? As I mentioned earlier, the advancement program still remains largely a product of what takes place during den meetings. So to support that, we've developed a number of great resources. And as you can see in the image available, or soon to see the image, there's den leader guides for the Tiger, Wolf, Bear, and Webelos Arrow of Light level. The intention is to make them comprehensive program guides so that everything that you need to run a great den meeting is present in one place. No matter what it is, it's all there for you. And the purpose then is to lead fun and engaging meetings for boys. Now, what sort of content is in those den meeting guides? As I said, they're all everything in one. That's the focus. It begins, of course, with a title for the adventure. They're engaging names. They're with a sense of fun and whimsy, but they're designed to imply the adventure that's taking place next. This is followed by a rationale, and the rationale gives the reason why we do the activities. We often talk about scouting as a game with a purpose. Well, the rationale gives the purpose behind the game that they are accomplishing during the rank event, during the completion of the adventure. Takeaways for the Cub Scouts, that's what they're going to get out of it. And then the rank requirements, so that you as a den leader know what you need to accomplish, requirement by requirement by requirement. To help you plan your activities, there's a section on the first page of each adventure with notes to den leaders. And the notes to den leaders make sure that if you need to plan for an outing or gather some resources, arrange for a guest to come to a den meeting, it tells you at the beginning so that you can make those arrangements in a timely manner. The den meeting plans, it still remains 7 steps. It has been for ages and ages in Cub Scouting. And we know that things that work well are things that we want to maintain. It begins with a gathering activity to connect the boys one by one as they arrive. And it wraps up with a closing and a reflection for the leader after the meeting to see what went well and to prepare for the next den meeting. One change that's taken place is that we've changed the name of business items to talk time, which makes a lot more sense for the boys in the den. Okay. When I said that the material in the den leader guides was comprehensive, I'm deadly serious about that. You don't need to get any other resources. No more how-to book, although that remains available. You don't need a ceremonies book. You don't need a song book. It's all there for you. You don't even have to go online and search for something, because we're giving you what you need to deliver the program. For instance, if you're going to play some games, we don't just give you one game, we give you half a dozen games that you can select from, because you know the boys in your den better than anybody else, and so you can make sure that you can select the games that make sense for them. So each of the 84 adventures that have been developed have a supporting den leader guide materials to help you deliver a great experience for the boys. Now, besides the den meetings, we want to make sure that we take care of leaders as they get ready to support the process. So Nancy, what are some of the support things we can do to help leaders?
Well, as den leaders began to plan with the adventures, they have a great tool currently in their den leader resource guide. You're going to plan for your den and your pack, so kind of 2 levels of program planning. For the template that you have, it will be retained in the new den leader guides. This is a monthly calendar where you can begin to place the rank adventures. We would encourage that because our focus should be to help the boy advance in rank. You'll notice the footnote there to schedule the Duty to God adventures with the family. They are primarily family-based. However, if you would like to do that in your den, go right ahead. Next, fill in the year with electives of choice. Those that appeal to the boys are good for your location and climate, so you'll have a fun, year-round program in Cub Scouting. We would also encourage you to share this plan with the Cub Master. because you have opportunities at the PAC meeting as well to fulfill some of these requirements. For example, in the Grin and Bear It adventure, the boys are required at the bear rank level to teach younger boys games. What a great opportunity at PAC meetings to fulfill this requirement. What other resources do we need to plan?
Well, I think you know that you saw some screenshots of the covers, but here's a life-sized one. This is the Wolf Den Leader Guide, and this has everything that a wolf leader needs to know to deliver the program in the den meeting. But as far as the planning and preparation, there's suggestions and hints to help move the materials in for the with the Cub Master. Another great resource is to make sure that you have your youth handbook. And the youth handbook's completely rewritten by the members of the CAT team. And one of the nice features is we move to the Oath and Law as our statement of our ideals in scouting. The Oath and Law are on the back of the handbook for ready reference for all boys that may need to make use of these materials. So we've got great stuff on hand. We want to make sure it happens. And as you continue with your annual planning process, don't forget, in addition to these written materials, that there's other parents, there are leaders that are ready to help with their resources, and anytime we can connect them with a good program, they're more and more eager to help deliver Cub Scouting. So those are what we have on hand right now, but there's still more things to come that can help you deliver a great Cub Scouting experience. And Linda, I think you're going to share a few of those.
I will. If you haven't yet been to www.scouting.org/program updates, that's where you need to go right now. Contained in that website are all of the current documents available right now. They are updated. There are resources that will give you every rank requirement for each of the adventures. That will help you in your planning right now. As you go down, you can click on a spot to add your email to be alerted on when the new program updates are available. As you scroll down the page, you'll find a roundtable support area. There you'll find some of the supplemental materials that will be uploaded throughout the coming months to help our roundtable folks present the current information and help each of the leaders become more familiar. Support your local roundtables, go be part of them, and encourage all of the den leaders in your area to become familiar and energized about the new program. There will be updated leader training available as well, and when those are ready, the site is going to be www.scouting.org. Program updates is the place to go to find when and where they are. At the very bottom of the page on the right-hand side, you'll notice an opportunity for you to attend the Philmont Training Center this summer. There will be 4 wonderful opportunities to go down to Cimarron, New Mexico, and enjoy the beautiful area and associate with Cub Scout families that are excited about the program and want to share in the adventures and learn something with each other about them, along with many of the presenters that have written the material. So go to that website and go back to it frequently for all of the updates and all the materials that you need to plan the program. Bob?
Sounds like you're excited to go to Philmont.
I am excited about Philmont.
That's great. I'll be there too.
Good.
So let's take a little bit of a pause from the formal part of the presentation, and let's get some of your questions out. I'm going to ask Ken to come in with me, and we'll tag team on what we've been able to get off the chat line, and then we'll add to the frequently asked questions if we didn't get to your specific question today. Nancy is going to be our reader.
Bob, what happened to the Scouting's core values?
So the Scouting core values, which were introduced a while back, were a great tool to begin the discussion of character with Cub Scouts. The mission of the Boy Scouts of America calls for us to instill the values of the Scout Oath and Law. So we were moving from the core values to the 12 points of the Scout Law in all of our character development efforts.
Ken, will the Webelos continue to wear their Webelos pins where they currently do?
Absolutely. The Webelos colors will still remain one option to wear the new pin devices, or if they have a Webelos cap, they can also put those on the front of the Webelos cap. So same practice as before.
Okay.
So I might note there that I've heard some people ask, are there any changes to the uniform?
You know, no.
There are no changes to the uniform.
Bob, this question is about training. If I am a trained leader currently, do I need to retake training?
So there's the saying in scouting, once trained, always trained, right? That continues with the new program in June. If you are a trained leader, you need not repeat position-specific training. However, there continue to be opportunities to learn. We'll be bringing additional information forward via monthly roundtables. We'd encourage you to stay in touch with that. If you are a trained leader, we will also be bringing forward a What's New training online, encapsulating much of what we're speaking about today.
Can the boys earn additional adventures that are not carried out in a den meeting?
Absolutely. Cub Scouting still remains a family-centered experience, and for boys and families that are looking for some great family enrichment times, the adventures beyond what they, certainly including, but also beyond what they would earn for the rank advancement are great opportunities to explore their interests and show off their accomplishments by acquiring additional belt loops.
Absolutely. There's 14 adventures each in Tiger, Wolf, and Bear. There's 22 shared in Webelos and Arrow of Light. There are fantastic opportunities for a boy and his family to discover new information.
Bob, this question has 3 parts, it looks like.
Oh.
The first one is, when will the handbooks be available? How will they be bound? And what is the expected cost of those books?
Sure. So let's talk about availability first. May 1st. May 1st of this year, new handbooks should be in scout shops. They will be in scout shops. In terms of binding, they'll be bound in the same way that they've been done before. There'll be one version that's perfect bound. That's the hard flat back that we're all used to. And there will continue to be a spiral bound version. For leader books, we'll continue to bind those as 3-hole punched and shrunk wrap. And I think the third question was, price. We are finalizing those books right now. In the next week to 2 weeks, we will be finalizing the page count and releasing those books to the printer. It will be at that point in time where we know what our total cost is. So sometime in the next few weeks, we should be able to release the pricing on the new books.
Great. Ken, the question is, will there be new requirements for the Cub Scout STEM program?
Those are in process right now. The National Volunteer STEM Committee is looking at the new Cub Scout adventures using the same requirements that you have access to, and by the end of the first quarter they will have new requirements for the STEM awards, and by June 1st they'll have new STEM handbooks for boys to use.
Great.
Now, this question is regards to the Webelos program. What is the best way to work with the new Cub Scout who joins at the start of the 5th grade?
Is that for me?
That's
Nancy?
for you, Bob. Yes.
For a new boy that joins in the 5th grade, the boy would want to go first to his Bobcat requirements, working with a den leader and his family to earn the Bobcat. Once that boy has completed Bobcat, he should be integrated directly into that 5th grade den and be working on the same adventures that those 5th grade boys are working on.
Could I add something to that?
Absolutely.
I think something that's really important about boys that become Webelos in 5th grade and want to earn the Arrow of Light Award. You know, the whole purpose of the Arrow of Light Award has always been to best prepare boys to become, best to prepare Cub Scouts and Webelo Scouts to become Boy Scouts. And the Arrow of Light requirements, we hope you've all taken a look at them, or if you haven't yet, do it right away. They've done a great job of bridging the experience, taking a boy from Cub Scouting to Boy Scouting. So it still remains a great transition requirement to make sure that boys are ready for Scouting, which is where we want to take them next.
Thank you, Ken.
And Ken, will the Scouts be expected to memorize the Scout Oath and Law?
Well, not initially, not necessarily. If the requirements for the Scout Oath and Law, for Bobcat, the first requirement is state and
I believe it says learn and say.
Learn and say the Scout Law or Scout Oath with help if needed. And one of the helps that's available is on the back of the handbook. It's stated right here. It's available for use. And what we know is that you know, the commitment of the Scout Oath and Law and making that a part of your value system is the important part. But as they use these, that they start and close every meeting for years as Cub Scouts, beginning as a Tiger Cub, they're going to be ready to go with this. So they're going to learn them, but they're going to learn step by step. And again, there's very complex ideas in here, but the use of them and exposure to them is going to make more and more sense over time. So we're glad that the use of these begins as Cub Scouts, continues in Boy Scouting, and then wraps up in venturing.
Sure, I might also add to that the PAC meeting themes that will be released in a little bit, actually by the end of April, will be connected to the Scout Law. So there'll be PAC meeting opportunities for those concepts to be reinforced. Also, throughout the boys' handbooks, there are things we call character connections. A small icon with the badge of rank inside of it that creates a reflection moment for that boy as he goes through the handbook to understand how the points of the law are connected to the real-life activities that they're engaged in.
Great. And can you share with us, the question is, what additional Den Leader resources will be retained and will any be retired?
Sure. The only resource that exists today that will be retired in its totality, pardon me, is the Den and PAC Meeting Resource Guide. That will go away. It will be replaced by the 4 Den Leader guides, one for Tiger, Wolf, and Bear, and a new one for Webelos and Arrow of Light, a shared one for Webelos and Arrow of Light. We are updating all the other key leader books, so there will still be a how-to book, a Cub Scout leader book, a song book, etc.
Great. And Ken, how was the recognition of Adventure Belt Loop chosen, and why?
How and why? Because we know that that's what boys really like. They like the ability to show off their accomplishments. They like to show off their recognition. And we also know that from a leader's point of view, it's pretty easy to award that and make sure that they get that recognition as soon as possible after having completed it. So boys like it. That's the main reason.
They do indeed love it. One other thing to say about the belt loops, we've had a couple of questions in previous sessions about how do you award them and when do you award the belt loop. First off, that's a unit decision, right? Many PACs award the current progress towards rank devices or belt loops in their PAC meetings, and that's fine. The important thing is recognize the boy for his completion of the adventure as soon as he completes it. In addition to the belt loops and adventure pins, we will also have pocket certificates. So you can choose when you award the pocket certificate and the belt loop or pin, but make sure that that boy gets recognized when he completes that adventure. So I think that wraps up the time we have available, pardon me, for our questions. I'd like to sort of start to wrap this thing up. Make sure that we cover a few key points. First, as Cub Scouting remains a family-focused program, it has been since the inception and will continue to be. It also continues to be a program targeting 7 to 10-year-old boys. Bobcat continues to be the first rank earned, despite what you may have heard elsewhere. Every new boy starts with Bobcat. There are no changes in the structure of PAC meetings or Den meetings. The only change, as Ken mentioned, is from business items to talk time within the Cub Scout Den meeting structure. What really is the big change is the approach to advancement. Rather than 4 different approaches, one for each of the ranks, we're moving to one approach for all ranks. That's the magic 7 that Nancy talked about. Boy earns 7 adventures, he moves on to his badge of rank. More electives in Webelos and Arrow of Light than there are for the earlier ranks, but 7 adventures. The other thing I want to emphasize is the unification of the Scout Oath and Law. For the first time ever, all of the scouting programs will be under one oath and law. Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Venturing, Varsity, and Sea Scouts will all use this fundamental statement of values. And then finally, the mission and aims. This program rededicates ourselves in a way never before to delivering those mission and aims and living up to what we're all expected to do. So the key points and final: simplified for leaders, more fun for boys. So let's talk about what you can expect in the next few months. First off, by the end of this quarter, March 31st, we will release revised position-specific training. It will be available both in an online version as well as in person. If you're, as I've said before, you're a trained leader now, you need not go through that training again. We will also release, and on the same timing, a What's New training module online covering much of the same information that we're discussing here today. And then finally, on a monthly basis, we will be releasing supplemental information for Cub Scout roundtables. It's being released to Roundtable Commissioners in the first week of each month and will be posted on the program updates page at the end of each month. So please attend your roundtables, check in frequently at the program updates page. April 1st, we will release PAC meetings and PAC meeting themes for the next 2 scouting years. So there will be 2 years worth of themed monthly PAC meetings for Cub Masters and Den leaders to engage in and to involve in their annual planning. So that will be for the 15-16 year and the 2016-2017 year. May 1st, big reveal. In your Scout shops, we'll find all the new handbooks, all the new Den leader guides, revised Cub Scout leader book, and all the other stuff that we use to support Cub Scouting. New Den advancement charts, new posters for the Scout Oath and Law, for the Den Code of Conduct, new pocket certificates for the ranks, etc. And all this will be available in English and Spanish at the same time. And then June 1st, official launch of the program. It's go time. That will be when the insignia will show up in Scout shops, the new Adventure Loops and Adventure Pins. So I hope you can see that we're ready. I'd like to just wrap this up with a quote from one of my favorite television shows, The West Wing. In it, at the end of the first season, the character President Bartlett was talking to a group of college students, a get out the vote kind of discussion. And he said at the end of his speech, "The future is made by those who show up." So first off, thank you for showing up. We appreciate your interest in the Cub Scout program. We know you're going to do a good job. Thank you for everything you do for Scouting, and thank you for everything you do for the youth of America.